Hello there everybody, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays, where we learn about nature by playing games. Now, in today's episode, we are back in Grounded. Unfortunately, I lost an entire recording that I made yesterday because our power went out, and as a result, the recording was lost. But I did make quite a bit of progress. We haven't done the Black Ant Lab yet, but what I did do is I did go into the maze here, and this was quite amazing. And I got the D20 die rolled over to a 20, which gave me the second coup de grace mutation, the second level thereof. And it turns out you don't need a mint mace, you don't need a salt morningstar to actually roll this. You can use a crow crossbow to roll it over on its side. So that is quite a revelation for me. Now, what I also did, officially now off screen, even though it was recorded, I did make a black ant shovel over here, which allows us to dig up a variety of treasures in the sandbox. Also have my antlion armor, and I have a black ant shield, which is a very nice upgrade from the weevil shield that we used to have until now. Now, the nice thing about having my antlion armor and my mutations, my fresh defense level 3 mutation now, there we go. The fresh defense, of course, you get by eating the mint shards, and if you eat 10 of them, you manage to get the third level of fresh defense. But now we can go dig up that blinking treasure over there. Also something to dig up here. This will be another mint. And this one over here is the hot chachas. Now, the reason I'm digging up the hot chachas is because there is something that I actually want. Not gonna bother about you, Mr. Antlion. There is something I want, and that is the spicy equivalent of this little trinket that I have here. The shiny salt crystal. This one, if you equip it instead of your parachute in your accessory slot, for example, you are able to add salt damage to any damage that you do. In other words, if we encounter an antlion now, like here, hello there, and I equip this shiny salt crystal into my accessory slot, we are now going to take it down a little bit more quickly. That's because now all my attacks automatically have salt added to it, which antlions, in the game at least, are vulnerable to. And there we go, gold card for the antlion as well. After killing 43 of the antlions, we now officially have the gold card as well. Alright, now we have made it to the black ant's nest. It's just over the rise here. And this means that we do have a second species of ant. And they're able to, for the most part, coexist with one another, which means there has to be some kind of differentiation amongst them, some kind of niche differentiation that allows them to coexist without the one outcompeting the other. Of course, neither of the species like it when I get too close to them, so I'm just going to kill all of them. Now, these black ants here, I'm not 100% sure what species it is. My suspicion is that it is the odorous house ant, which is a species that you do find in Maine, in USA. But I am not 100% sure. Now, the odorous house ant is called so because, number one, it is an ant that is often found around houses, hence the house ant part. And the odorous part is that it has quite a strong scent that it secretes when it dies. Well, basically, in crushing it, you release that very, very strong scent. So it is odorous. It's also called the coconut ant. Not because it smells like nice coconut or so, it apparently smells like rotten coconut. Hence the coconut ant name. Now, what of course you have are these worker ants and you have your soldier ants. Now you've got the differentiation here in that the worker ants are nice and small, typical workers with their small little heads, whereas the soldier ants are the more suicidal ones, the ones that will attack, and let us actually put that status on there. The annihilator one, which, yes, allows us to do far more damage to them now. Hello there. Meet your doom. The workers tend to run away when they are feeling, or when they feel that they will not be winning the fight, but the soldiers are a little bit more I kill you or you kill me kind of vibes. As I was saying, the casts very clearly differentiated in this game, but if this is in fact the odorous house ant, then the soldiers, it doesn't seem, actually look like that. They don't have these massive heads or massive mandibles. Okay, but we do have a choice here, and I always get lost when I do come in here. It's either to the left or the right. Let's go left first. Let's see what we find when we go up here. We have officially found the lab. Hello, little ant. Most peculiar indeed. I think heading up here, there is an A. Okay, we will need to get into that one first. But there we go. Thanks, guys, for recommending that I get the bombs. I did get bombs. And boom. Okay, now we should have access to the lab there. Now, something I do also have, I brought my shiny salt crystal with me. And that should allow us to do more damage against most of the robots, if I'm not mistaken. As far as I recall, they are weak to salty as well. So without us needing a salt weapon, oh yes, we can now be doing quite a bit of damage to them. Okay, so it seems the ants were being agitated by the mixers. Now we have seen the mixers around, although I haven't paid attention to them. We will need to do them at some point as well. The mixers, basically, you have these big glowing balls of pink, and if you activate it, you will then need to defend it because everything in the area will attack it. Interesting, and the file there basically said that the mixers were for Dr. Tully's experiments to try and cure his raisening, which he is experiencing, and it is used to concentrate raw science. And as a result of the massive cacophony of sounds that it produces, it is then of course the focus of whatever animals are in the area. So then it does result in it being attacked. Now earlier we did open up door A, and now we can go into the door at A that we opened earlier. Of course, just jumping down, we can then enter through the hatch over here. And here you can of course get anything you need in order to make some things, things like torches or so, and very importantly, you can set your respawn point over here. We are possibly going to need it in a bit. And it seems that Dr. Tully, first of all, seemed to have accepted his fate that things have turned against him, but it also, in the same breath, in the note that was on the table over here, he seems to be convinced that someone is out to get him, and that Ominent is possibly spying on him, so he's decided to ramp up security. And that brings us to the assistant manager, which we are going to have to fight now. Or soon, at least. So it seems that, yeah, they basically notes, is it Burgle, is it Ominent spying on him? There's the assistant manager, big robot, he's dumb. He does zappies, shock pillars, and laser pillars in the center. So basically giving and summoning some things. So this here basically tells you what happens in the fight. So this is a bit of a preparation for what is to come. We are going to open this door over here and walk out through it. And now, following the cable here, we should be able to make our way to the door B. And there it is. Now, of course, bringing a whole bunch of bombs with you will allow you to open up any of these rocks to access things like raw science, or this weird fungus room which contains a mega milk molar up here. Now, something I don't quite understand. These mushrooms here, obviously they are trying to get their spores dispersed, but they are all underground. Very difficult to disperse your spores anywhere, especially if you are a fluffy ball like this mold over here. Very difficult to get your spores dispersed if there's no wind blowing across you. They are only going to be dispersed into this general area, so I think may have made a little bit of a mistake. Now, what you can very often have are mushrooms cultivated by things like certain ant species. Certain ants, like the leafcutter ants, for example, will cultivate a certain fungus species in their nests. Also, some termites will very often have fungi growing in their nests. And those fungi, in some cases, are food, like in the case of the leafcutter ants. In other cases, it just happens to grow on the decomposing organic matter that you find in the termite nest, for example. Oh, wow. Okay. 2 one-shot, 1 kills there. This one I'm probably not going to be as lucky. No. Oh, well. It was good while it lasted. Of course, the ants here do have the weakness that if you shoot them in the eyes, you can get a 1-shot, 1 kill there, which we did manage to do. Always marvelous. But now that we are here, it is almost time. Now, in this room, there on the chair, which we can see there, is the larger counterpart to the pinchwhacker that we have. I think it's the rod smacker, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, the pinchwhacker and the rod smacker would be the arms of these little tasties that we have encountered thus far. So we've got the pinchwhacker already, and the rod smacker is in there. Now, in order to get access to that room there, you do need to defeat all the mixers, which of course we haven't done yet. We are going to just shatter the glass over here with a splatburst. And then get ready for the fight. Now, when you summon the assistant manager, he's going to come, I think, from the top there, with 2 of his summons as well, 2 tasties, if I'm not mistaken, or archers, I can't remember. But the central column here, this is the one with the lasers that we saw in the lab there, and then these are the potential shock pillars. At this point, I've got my shiny salt crystal, I've got my ladybug armor, I have eaten a larvania, which will give me an increased chance, or increased critical hit chance. I've got my hammer, I've got my crow crossbow, and I think this is it is time. There he is. Just to be sure, we're just going to stand here, and then we can just kind of wail on him, either from a distance, or if he gets closer, now we can hit him with a hammer. Which may, of course, just be easier. At this point, he is not going to summon the lasers yet. I think it does at 75% of his health, which should be soon. Yes. Okay, there come the lasers. But keeping this pillar between you and it, and the central pillar, will actually protect you, of course, against most damage. There we go, okay. And now, these pillars will also shock you if you get too close to it. So it's important to make sure that you stand a little bit away from it. So it can be quite chaotic. But just stand in the corner, keep yourself safe. Make sure you've got enough healing items. And given enough time, even the assistant manager will fall to you. And that gives us one of my favorite mutations, just for the sheer chaos that it can cause. And that is the shocking dismissal one. And I am immediately going to equip that. Yes, so this was the assistant manager. Or the assistant to the manager. I never even noticed this little name board that it has. But yeah, quite a nice little robot. Especially now that he's dead. And with his key card, oh my word, we are going to have access to so many things now. Now, he cannot be resummoned, so automatically if you have hopefully you have scanned him. But by looting him, you should then get the gold card. Okay. But interesting in this, at the end here, we have got a whiteboard which puts down all the locations of the mixers. One in the sandpit, there's one in the haze, there's one close to where we have built by the picnic table. Actually, this is the upper yard, a little bit in the upper yard, and then 3, I think, super mixers. Yeah, the large mixers, 3 of them on that in the upper yard over there. Now, we will be doing those as we go along, and once we have done all of them, we will be opening this door over here. And this is, of course, what we were here for, the Black Ant Super Chip. Okay, so old Wendell decided that he was going to do things alone and basically ran away. We have to go find him at some point. But this here, of course, in the roly-poly. Now, I have actually killed 2, I think, thus far. No, just 1 I have killed thus far of it. The sickly roly-poly is resistant. And if you look here, you'll see that it is resistant to most types of damage, except that it has a weakness to busting and spicy. Note that it does have a resistance to salty, so I have taken off my shiny salt crystal and instead have my dandelion tuft here, because if I attack it with the salty, it is just going to do, I'm not sure, half damage or 75% of the damage, not enough damage. So I just decided to go for normal old attack, normal damage. They are quite strong guys, these, and they can also heal themselves by rolling up in a ball. Now, this rolling up in a ball is the main defense mechanism that these roly-polies or woodlice or pullbugs, whatever you want to call them, will use. They are herbivores, so they will be feeding mostly on organic matter that they can find around the ground here. And there's the shocking dismissal. So that little shock that was there was because of me blocking and it building up, and then it has a random chance to unleash a little bit of shock damage. So this is a typical crustacean over here. Very hard shell, very flexible armor. Surprisingly flexible with these overlapping plates over here. And that, of course, allows it that if it feels threatened, it can roll up, hence the name roly-poly. It can roll up into a little ball to keep its vulnerable belly protected by the outer layer. There are quite a few species that will do this. Very often species like certain species of armadillo. I think there is only 1 species of armadillo that can actually roll up into a ball like this with it to keep its belly protected. In South Africa, we have the pangolin as well. Quite a few pangolin species in Africa and Asia that can I think all of them, can roll up into a ball to keep their bellies protected. And in doing so, they are pretty resistant to predators. Now, no massive jaws on this thing here, very small little mouth parts. It is a typical herbivore. Now, there is something that I do want to also do before we go and hand in the chip, and that is the Candy Conundrum Chip Sleuth here, where it says, the riddle to find the secret key, I'm sorry to say it won't be told by me. Between the dunes that sizzle in a room of spice, a scribble will be found on a board of white. So, the Candy Conundrum, the dunes that sizzle, obviously that refers to the sandpit. Now, in the video that I recorded but lost, we also did dig up this skeleton, which is another ominent scientist, another ominent spy. That one was I think it's the biological engineer or biochemical engineer, if I'm not mistaken. And his badge allows you to actually get a health regen going, but at the cost of food. In other words, it uses food in your inventory to heal you, which is great, except that even if you are at full health, you are going to be using food to have that health trickle. So it doesn't stop just because you are at full health. Now, I'll be talking about the antlions again next time. I did talk quite a bit about it in the recording that I lost, but yeah, we are going to be doing that next time. Now, there is something I also did get previously in the previous video that unfortunately was lost, and that is a key to the chest that is in the moat behind the sandcastle over there that I also built a ramp up to. So unfortunately, we missed quite a bit in that recording there. But to get the key to the moat, you need to be in the sizzle area here. So you need to be in the sandpit. You come to this yellow shovel, this small little yellow shovel over here. And when it is 3:30 in the afternoon, you look at the center, because as the sun goes around, this little shadow will creep along here, and in the center cast by that part over there, over here around about, you should be digging and you'll find a key that you can use to open up the chest. Hello. That is in the moat to that side, the melted moat key. Now what we are looking for is actually more to the side. So here by the shovel, there is a door. Hello. I'm not going to bother with you. We are going to go inside here. You can stay outside. Thank you very much. And look at this. This actually tells you exactly where to find the chest. Where to find the chest. And also where to find the key to the chest. Where it doesn't tell you the day. The time of day you need. Interesting. But yes, if you dig at the right spot, you will then of course find the key, which will open up the chest by the castle. Brilliant. That's cute. So in the recording here, Dr. Wendell Tully was kind of getting very, very depressed and sad about life and everything, and he's trying to find a cure to this, the raisinification that is happening to him. So this was the 13th of May, 1990. I think we are somewhere in 1991, so a little bit after this photo was last taken. So if you look around the yard, you will find quite a lot of these photos, and you can kind of see how he progresses from his family life with looking normal and his wife and his kids until, well, that, and then I think later on you'll find some more photos as well. But here we are, the sandbox Burgle chip as well, and that is what we're also going to give in to Burgle, or hand into Burgle. And here, as we make our way back to Burgle, of course, to go hand in our chips, just a massive thank you again from my side to all of you who have tuned in to watch the video, who have watched the video up to this point, of course, as well. And I really, really, really hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hope you guys have had a wonderful week and that you have a nice, relaxing weekend ahead of you. And thanks so much to all of you who have also subscribed to the channel. It's really amazing to see the channel grow as we go along. For now though, we are going to just quickly hand in the last of the super chips. So as I was walking away from Burgle, you can see the photo over here. This is the first time I looked at it properly. So there's the son of Dr. Wendell Tully. This is Thor, and then there's Sarah over there. And then they have a little hamster over here. Now this hamster, you can actually find, sadly, its grave in the yard as well. And we'll have a look at that at some point as well. But now that we finished the Black Ant Lab, we can get the recipe for the Mighty Globs and for sturdy plating and sturdy whetstones. So to upgrade our weapons and armor to level 6 and 7, I believe, yes. We can also now have the infinite recipe for brittle whetstone and brittle plating. We can get the glue masher, and we can make our spicy globs, mint globs, salt globs and sour globs as well. So Burgle has basically instructed us to go and find Dr. Tully at his favorite chair, which is in the upper yard. And that is where we are going to go next time then. So until next time, guys, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and I will see you all soon.